All right, the Colorado Avalanche start 2024 off right with a come from behind overtime win against the New York Islanders. And the difference, we have Nathan MacKinnon and you don't. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
Your Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Make sure you're following us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, X, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram and Threads. Questions, comment, that gets me every time. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, LockedOnAvalanche@gmail.com. And make sure you are following us on our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. And one more thing, make sure you subscribe to our subtext as well. Link to that is in the show notes below, because when you do, you become a special insider that chats with Kyle and I one-on-one, and we get your take on everything Avs, which we share on this very show. All right, Kyle, let's dive right into this thing. Avs first game of the new year. They welcome the Long Island Islanders, technically the Long Island Islanders. And it's their second and final game against the Islanders, and they take this thing, but it wasn't coming easy. And I was thinking it was like going to be one of those games where is the goaltending going to fail the Avs now? And we'll talk about Georgiev kind of a little bit more in detail a little bit later on, but it was they were playing well offensively. It was another game where they were just really doing whatever they wanted to do, and they were getting some goals here and there, but they were giving them up on the back end. And you were just watching like, man, I really hope this isn't that type of game, because they're not playing poorly, with the exception of Georgiev in the beginning. And then, he settled down and the Avs just stuck to their game. You heard them say this over and over again over the past month, that we can't get away from our game. Is if the game's not out of hand and we're still in the game, we just have to keep playing our game and we will see results. And that's exactly what they did. The thing goes into overtime where Nathan MacKinnon fires an absolute rocket that nobody is going to stop. And there's your game winner.
And you mentioned the Avalanche kind of every time they're asked about their performance so far, the Avalanche always say, we got to get back to our game. They also throw in this little addition to that. And I think it holds evident what they're talking about in this game that we just witnessed. They always mention we are getting punished for every mistake we make. And you heard that throughout the game. And when Georgiev lets up 3 goals on 9 shots, you look at it in that context, when they do make mistakes, those are going in. And you play a really good game on the forward. You play really good game defensively.
Yeah.
And they get those breakout chances, no traffic, 1-on-1 with Georgiev, 2 go 5-hole, 1 go over your glove. You're getting penalized for a mistake.
Yeah.
It gets frustrating after a while. And they even had to do a goalie change. I still have no idea what's going on with Varlamov.
I don't know what happened with that. Did I miss it when did they come back later in the game and say why? I don't know.
It was never announced on the broadcast, and I was sitting there scrolling through X trying to find something that's going on, and nothing was said. So you had 2 goalies that the Avalanche successfully made hot and made them look good with their shots, but the Islanders got in the way, were blocking a lot of shots too. So it was one of those typical Avalanche games that they had every excuse in the world to get frustrated, throw up their hands and say, I know we have Dallas. We got to get on the road. You just kind of pack it in, but they didn't. They were resilient. Yeah. They had to come back multiple times. They were down to start the game.
Yeah.
So for the Avalanche to rally together with everything working against them, even when they're doing the things that they're supposed to do right and win this game, speaks a lot to this team.
And I think the Islanders were down 2 defensemen by the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were only playing with 4 demons, so that plays to the Avalanche favor, obviously. But yeah, you had the first goal of the game for the Islanders. Avalanche were playing well, and Sam Girard goes to, I think he went to try to make a shot or make a pass, and it kind of slid off his stick. And then he tries to back check, and the puck is kind of like landing in front of him, and he takes a swipe at it, and it goes over his stick. And then it's not so much a breakaway, but the who got the first goal for the Islanders?
Pierre Engvall, the pickup from Toronto.
Yeah. So like he's got position on Girard, so much so where it's like, nothing's blocking Georgiev to make that save. So yeah, I mean, and then you had a couple others that the next two, the only one that you're forgiving him on is the one that just went off of Jack Johnson's skate.
Yeah.
That's a redirect that he's not, I think he was tracking that puck okay. That's just one of those fluky things that you can't control. That was their 4th goal. The other 3, he needs to stop those.
Mm-hmm.
He absolutely needs to stop those. But having said that, you said they got down multiple times in this game. But my God, they were doing whatever they wanted to do, and getting a shot on goal. And I'm honestly sitting there thinking, like, I'm pretty confident they can come back in this game. I do not. If Georgiev can settle down, and we've seen him do this before, where he has a rough start to a game or a rough patch to a game that gets them behind, and as a team they don't panic and say, like, we have to change our system. You need to start playing better, you being Georgiev, and let us do our job. And that's what they did. Yeah, you can talk about the Georgiev thing, and we are, obviously, but you can fault him for those 3 goals because he's got to stop those. And then on the flip side, you got to give him some credit for really keeping it where it was to let the team do what they need to do to claw back into this thing and win it.
And Chris, like the way you're explaining it and hearing you talk about which goals you're going to forgive him on, we do that so many episodes of this post game on, we're going to forgive him for that one. That was a crazy dribbler. He didn't really get a good look. Eventually, you're going to get sick, and we're going to talk about Georgiev in depth. But you're going to get tired of giving him allowances or treating him like a golfer with a handicap score, and you have to modify your analysis to his play. That's going to get old after a while. But the thing that's really standing out with this team right now, everybody focuses on the goalie issue, and defense is getting better. You see that in the shot discrepancy, especially when the game starts out. It evens out towards the end, but the defense is getting better. Thanks, Sam Girard. Welcome back. But go top to bottom on this team. You're starting to see from the top line working its way down. The streaks are continuing. You're seeing Nichushkin looking incredible. Nathan MacKinnon just out of this world. Jonathan Drouin, 10 points,
he's
10
starting
games.
to come on. Yeah, he's firing right now.
And that's what you want to see. We talk about consistency and somebody stepping up. That's what you're getting from the top line. And guess what? When you get production like that, you make it easier on the second line, because if your top line scores, the next line that comes out, they're disheartened that they just got scored on and they got to try and come back. It gives the advantage to the Avalanche second line and the third line. This is how you start building consistency from the ground up, is get that top line going. And right now the Avalanche are just buzzing on that top line.
Well, let's talk about that top line, specifically Nathan MacKinnon and Val Nichushkin. So, because they were just they had no answer for them. So let's talk about them, and we will do that coming up next. Right now, we're going to hear from Gametime and the Gametime app because you shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. And Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you with killer last-minute deals, all-in pricing, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Some of the things that we love about the Gametime experience, you have those last-minute tickets, the flash deals, and the zone deals. If there's a specific section that you're looking for, keep going back, checking the app because they might have special deals right for that section. And we always talk about the view from your seats, how it's incorporated into the app. It's seamless. It's just like scrolling through a social media app, and you never have to go into the section, then into the seat to see the seat view. It's right there, right on the main page. So you can download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So again, create an account and redeem the code Locked On, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right. So we touched on that top line. I just don't think people are giving around the league are giving them enough credit for how good these guys are playing right now with Mikko Rantanen, Valenchuskin, and Nathan MacKinnon. Nathan MacKinnon was the top first star of the month for the month of December. Those 29 points are franchise record for any given month. He was the player of the week for 1 week, and now he gets the player of the month. He scored multiple points in this game, which gave him continued his streak of home to start a season home game point streak of 20 games. He's halfway to Wayne Gretzky. But it's and I didn't know this. It's been 35 years since anybody's done 20 games to start a season at home. So he is on an absolute tear, and you can see it in his play. He wears everything outwardly, right? He wears it on his sleeve. He wears it on the front of his jersey. And, the game against the Sharks when he had that hit that everyone is talking about, like he is just playing every facet of the game right now to an absolute elite level. And you incorporate Mikko Rantanen, who continues to just mosey along. Like people are kind of last year is Mikko Rantanen and Nathan MacKinnon was there just kind of doing like the dirty work. Now it's kind of flipped. And Nathan MacKinnon is just through the roof, and Valenchuskin continues to just putts along too. It's incredible what this top line is doing. And then in the overtime for, you had the power play to start the overtime. And you knew they were going to get looks because it's a 4-on-3, and MacKinnon didn't waste any time. And that was just an absolute rocket. I just want to know what that feels like one time in my life, Kyle, to take a snapshot like that and roof it. I'd love to know.
And I'll back it up just a little bit more before that on that top line production. If Nichushkin put that goal in, that he literally shouldered 2 defenders off of him,
oh man,
it was one of the most incredible hockey plays I have ever seen. And if he would have put that in, you remember that Cale Makar, that quick turn Chicago highlight that we saw for like a year and a half? This would be the new clip.
Yeah.
And it was, by the way, that was in. So
let's talk about that. First of all, like you just saw like how you just cannot move Val. Like he made that's such a difficult move to make on so many levels. And they had 2 defenders trying to pinch him, and he just shrugged them off like they were nothing. But as far I'm a little bit confused on why that was not a goal, because you're looking at the replay, and the whistle blows much late, like when I say much later, like 3 or 4 seconds afterwards. And from my understanding is like you can't go back. I don't know, man. Like again, we're recording this a few minutes after, so maybe there's an explanation. But what I'm looking at is what they said was there should have been a stoppage. I didn't think you could review that.
No.
I mean, you can have a stoppage if like something gets thrown out on the ice, like that should have been a stoppage. But if you didn't call the play dead, because remember what happened in that game,
Ottawa.
Well, the Ottawa game against the Avalanche, but just the other day with Tampa, it was Tampa and Montreal, I think.
Yeah.
And so why can't you go back and say, well, that should have been a stoppage? And yeah, use the Avalanche Ottawa game from last year. That should have been a stoppage too. I didn't think you could go back and review what should have been a stoppage. And from what I understand, like they're reviewing if it was a goal. And then you can't go review it and then find something else in the review and say, like, well, then that should have been called. I don't think that's how that works.
No.
So maybe I'm just like looking at this wrong, or I don't have the right. And I'm sure some people, the day after will maybe comment in the comment section. Please do. But the way I'm viewing it right now is like you found something else in the review and then decided to reverse it.
Yeah, and I've seen pucks get stuck in skates and pads, carry over that red line, and be called a goal. So I don't know why, like that should have been a stoppage. Usually if the puck gets trapped somewhere, it's this. I don't understand that. And I also was sitting there when it was called a no goal, was confused. It was a delayed penalty at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And yet the Avalanche still went on the power play, even though losing the review.
Well, because the penalty still holds true. Like it's still going to be a penalty. Right. Yeah.
So
and the only way that I would say it's not a goal is because it did look like MacKinnon kind of pushed his pad into the goal. So
I could go with that.
I got to see it again. I only saw what was on the broadcast. I haven't looked up the video, but it did look like he kind of, and you can't do that, obviously. But again, that's not what they called. They're looking to see if the puck passed the goal line. It did. So if you're going to review if it's a goal or not, you have an angle where it shows that it is a goal. And then to come out and say there should have been a stoppage. Well, as far as I know, you weren't reviewing that.
And then, it's one more thing like we were talking about in that first segment. Mm-hmm. Another way the Avalanche did not let that bother them. When everybody saw that same replay and said, no, that's a goal, instead of getting frustrated, an emotional Nathan MacKinnon, instead of letting that bother him all game long and chirp the refs, or Mikko, who loves to be in the referee's ear, they just kind of shrugged that off and went back to business. That speaks a lot to what we've been asking this team to, just kind of get back to work. Mm-hmm. Looks like the Avalanche are doing that.
Yeah, and even, you had a really good chance by Logan O'Connor on a breakaway, which, oh God, that would have been solid if he would have been able to put that one home. Well, let's take our final break here, and then we'll get into the stats, some subtext people, and of course our sound check. But yeah, I mean, you had some good numbers on the Avalanche side, so we're going to talk about all of that next. All right, let's hear from FanDuel, because right now new customers can get $150 in bonus bets at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And the NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still plenty of time to get on the action with FanDuel. And like I said, you can get that $150 in bonus bets. That's guaranteed when you place just a $5 bet. And you can get that $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Before it was just if you won. Now, just win or lose, Kyle. I mean, how can you go wrong there? Come on now.
Win or lose with Jared Stidham, it's a win.
It's a win. It's always a win. You're winning at every angle here. There's no downside. So the app is super easy to use, and there's so many different ways to bet, like the live same game parlays, over unders. You can find the bets on the new Explore tab for the game parlays, and you make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a what, Kyle? Is this a touchdown? Is this a safety? Make your first bet
a field goal.
A field goal. A game-winning field goal. How about that? So FanDuel, it's the official partner of the NFL. All right, let's jump into some stats here for the Avs. First of all, the time on ice was pretty even, kind of what you want to see. Your fourth line was just below 10 minutes for most people.
And they took
Almost
the
9
first
minutes.
face off.
Yeah, they did, and the third, I think, too. The
Mhm.
first and the third, yeah. So you were rolling your lines, which is nice. You want to see that. Valenchukin with the 2 goals. Logan O'Connor had an assist. Drouin with the goal and an assist. We'll get back to him in a second. Nathan MacKinnon, 1 goal, 2 assists, 3-point night for him. Mikko Rantanen, 2 assists. On the defensive end, Taves with 1 goal. He's hot right now.
Yeah.
Devon Taves is really catching fire. And that's the thing. Like you're getting a lot of these guys. We're talking about the top line on the defensive end. He's playing fantastic. Cale Makar doing his thing with 3 assists, and Sammy G gets his first point since coming back with an assist. So, you're getting really good play, really from, I say like top to bottom. Your fourth line is not early in the year. You were having that like third, fourth line that was really carrying your team. They've kind of settled into just doing what they need to do. They're not a liability. You'd like to see them maybe knock in a goal or two, especially in that fourth line. But it's okay. Like, all right, like you're out there to just get some minutes out there, spell the top line, and if you make something happen, great. They battle, they fight. You got Andrew Cogliano on there who's never gonna take a shift off. So just you're getting a good vibe, even though they were down.
Mhm.
You're getting a good vibe that they're playing well. And like I said, on the defensive end, Taves is starting to really start to click. It just feels like it's starting to come together a little bit more.
Yeah. And you mentioned Taves, like Taves and Makar, and then Manson looks like a completely different Josh
It really
Manson than
does.
begun the year. And
Yep.
Sam Girard, he's ascending into his role. He's now got a point. He's going to start building off that. Jack Johnson, physical presence. Who would have thought? Bo Byram, quiet. What do you know? No delay of games. That's also nice. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
defense is looking good. I'd like to see a little bit more out of Miles Wood. Haven't heard his name in a while.
But he's like a mini Cogliano. You know what I mean? Like,
And with
good Lord, he doesn't stop.
Miles and Cogliano out there, I think they're shifting into that role of getting the teams they're playing against out of their element because they rough them up. They make things just uncomfortable. They agitate. Fourth line goes out there, gives them that little bit of advantage, and that top line goes out there and takes advantage of those emotions and puts things away.
So, I mean, and everything in front of Georgiev seems to be doing, their job and starting to click and starting to hit their stride. Do we have lasting concerns with Georgiev right now? Do we feel like, we gave everybody else, up until now to really start feeling like how we're talking about, the forwards and defensemen starting to play well and play their roles. Do we say the same thing for Georgiev and allow him like a little bit more time to just be more consistent? Because you're seeing good mixed with bad. So if everybody else needed some time to really just get into a groove, does he just need a little bit more time? Or we're into January? Should you be like, no, man, you should be with everybody else right now?
And this is not our first rodeo with Georgiev. He's not like the Miles Wood, the Ryan Johanssons, Ross Colton's. Like, he's been around. He should understand and he should know where this team's going. And it's starting, like, I think this game against the Islanders he's on, how they have like severe weather watches. He's on a watch because
Yeah,
I
it's not a
don't think
warning yet.
3 goals on 9 shots.
It was not a good start.
No, it's against. I mean, I understand the Islanders are not bad, but with that team, how they're performing in front of you, if you stop one of those, momentum is key in these kind of matchups. And if you're giving up 3 goals on 9 shots, it's hard to keep momentum going. And boy, this Avalanche team, they would have had a lockdown goaltender. This would have been a completely different score, a completely different momentum throughout the game. And you don't need to be compensating for your goalie if you want to get things going. So this was a little bit alarming performance from Georgiev.
Just looking at the shots on goal, I know it's the second game in a row. I don't know how far back this goes. I'm just seeing it now. Second game in a row where they have not given up double-digit goals, or excuse me, double-digit shots on goal in any period. So the one against the Sharks was insanely low. But for the Islanders, they had 8, 9, and 5 for the first, second, and third shots on goal. So he's not getting overworked. The defense is not allowing a ton of shots going in his direction. So like you're saying, like, you got to stop these. You got to stop these because, yeah, this game would have taken a different look if you're getting just solid goaltending and you run away with a 5-1 win rather than needing overtime to get past the Islanders. So it's like, it's good and bad. I mean, like it's a bad start, but again, he held it down. Do you want to keep doing that? Like, that is not a recipe for success for me, because that's just, that makes everybody's stress levels rise, makes the team just be like, why do we have to keep doing this? We're, and I'm not saying they're going to turn on him, but maybe from, the suits in the front office, take a look at that and be like, that's not how we want to win games. We want to win games where we're in command much more than we were able to last year. So maybe it's an off-season thing, but or you still have a ton of games left. He gets into that mode. It just took him a little bit longer to get there, like the rest of the team is, like you feel they are right now.
And Georgiev hasn't seen 30 shots in his last 5 games. And that also includes like a 2-1 win against St. Louis of all teams. By the way, a comeback win from the Arizona Coyotes. Like, you need to have confidence in your goalie. And if you're getting limited shots, that means it's an easier job for you.
Should be.
So
in theory.
Yeah. So it's concerning. So if you want to see things turn around, that's where you start.
We'll start there on subtext. Easton says, look, Georgie has to be better. Technically, over the last 3, he has only given up 6, so 2 per game. I'm still a believer. Is there just a lot of tape on him now, and he's getting exposed? That's a good question, because this was really his first full-time gig, and it's like, those quarterbacks that come out of nowhere in the NFL. Wait till the following year when there's tape on them, and defenses in the NFL are going to figure them out. Is that happening now for him?
The first 2 goals were 5-hole, clean, no traffic.
Yep. So, but he said, good job outscoring the issues of the occasional sloppy defense and turnovers. Keegan, by the way, I should have started with this. Someone on this very podcast said this game was going 5-4 in overtime, and it was not me. So there's only one other person in this room that, yeah, dude, well done. I did not see a 5-4 overtime win in this game whatsoever.
That was my so Raven moment. I had my vision of the future.
Vargar says, where is he? Pros, Mark Crawford used to say, our top guys were our very top guys tonight. I love that quote. Mac, Makar, Nuke, Miko were great. Sammy G bringing the puck out and laying guys out twice. Yeah, Sam Girard throwing some weight around. Hey, now, clean hit too. So good for you, boy. And Chuskin doing his Landy impression in the front of the net. Cons, another inconsistent game from Georgie. An 818 save percentage. Yeah, man, it's ugly. I mean, when you look at that, but like we said, like, it really was 2 different games for him. A bad game and a good game. Lack of scoring depth and a real 2C would be nice. Another solid defender would help as well. I don't know, man. Like, I'm happy with the defense right now, and I'm especially happy with Jack Johnson of all people.
Yeah.
Where, like, he has found some fountain of youth where he's not making mistakes.
And he's bodying people.
Absolutely. That's his game. He's not making any, like, dumb turnovers. And when he gets a chance to take a shot, it's like a 90+ mile an hour shot. So he's been good. He's been very, very surprising this year. I'm happy with him. So
I love the defense top to bottom right now.
Yeah. There were, let's see, this is Keegan as well. Entertaining game. Avs played solid 60 and definitely deserved the 2 points. Everyone looked sharp and played smart hockey. Hopefully they will keep it up rolling into Dallas, because you didn't want that. You didn't want a loss heading into Dallas. Come on.
No.
You didn't.
I'm already, I don't want to hear that goal horn in Dallas. So you want this momentum carried over.
Yep. Kyle says 2024 is the year of the dog. Nate remains red hot. Incredible to see him take his game to an even higher level, which is scary.
Yeah.
Absolutely scary. And then finally, remember how we said yesterday that Madam Battleaxe was going to wear her Avs jersey all around New York City? She sent in a few pictures of her around New York City, head to toe Avs gear. Reppin'. I love it. I love it.
Sorry to take that overtime prediction from you, Madam Battleaxe.
All right. So let's get to our last bit of business here, and that is our Locked On Avalanche sound check. Kyle and I pick a song each that we feel best represents the most recent game, and these songs go up on a playlist over on Spotify. Just search for the playlist LOA Soundcheck, volume number 3. This one is. What do you have for the Islanders and Avalanche there?
I'm going to read you just an excerpt from this song.
Oh, okay. This is poetry night.
Take all this pride and leave it behind, because one day it ends, one day we die. Believe what you will. This is your right, but I choose to win. I choose to fight. To fight.
Oh.
That is Weathered by Creed.
Running through brick walls with those lyrics, man. Wow.
That it sums up the Avalanche game against the Islanders. Like, they were weathered, they were beat down, they had everything go against them, reviews, goalie falling apart, and they still weathered the storm and got the win.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And lyrics to boot. Mm-hmm. Can't beat that, man. No, that's a good one. I'm gonna focus more on the guys we were talking about, like those top line guys, namely Nathan MacKinnon, because we should just be thanking our lucky stars day and not take this guy for granted. Like I'm not saying we do. Enjoy this while he's doing this.
Yeah.
We love touting Cale Makar, and he's deserving of it. But Nathan MacKinnon is on a roll right now that we really haven't seen in some time. So that's why I'm going with the band is Mars Volta, one of my favorite bands. And the song is called Goliath. That's what he's just playing like a beast of a man right now. And when you listen to this song, it's just a hectic, chaotic drums like you've never heard in your life before. Go listen to that song, because it's just it's kind of like Nathan MacKinnon, how he's just we use the term bull in a china shop all the time. Like, that's this song. It's just so crazy and loud and bombastic. It's Nathan MacKinnon to a T. And the fact it's called Goliath, it's exactly what he is right now.
I'm glad Mars Volta is on our playlist. Makes me happy.
They are fantastic. Fantastic band. Nobody really out like them that I think.
No.
So go check it out. All right. It's going to wrap it up for today. We will be back tomorrow. We'll have some morning leftovers and anything else that happens in Avalanche land. So if you want, join the subtext, people. If you want some your thoughts read on the air, we'll do that tomorrow as well. It's going to wrap it up. So solid win for the Avs. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.